So things have been happening that I want to discuss from a more grounded, in-depth perspective. First of all, let's talk about the man who just got shot in the neck. Charlie Kirk is his name is, right? Political pundit, talk show host, etc. Whatever he did doesn't necessarily matter for what I'm going to say here. But here's the thing that you need to understand, is that free speech in itself is not real. There is no free speech. In fact, you don't have any rights. Free speech in itself is a constructed idealism that takes place within the confines of another construct which we call society. Your free speech ends with a bullet to the head. And he just proved this. He is dead proof of this, in which I just said. Your free speech is limited to in which your power extends. Freedom is power without consequence. And there is no expressing any action in this universe without consequence. It doesn't matter if you're on the right side of the political spectrum. It doesn't matter if you're on the left side of the political spectrum. If you speak and you say things that offend people, individuals will threaten to kill you. And some of them may be brazen enough to try if your speech gets to the point to where you're able to bring people together and affect them with your talking points, which he was. Thousands of people. Which is why somebody finally killed him. This is something that people who are delusional, who believe that this safety net in which they call society should protect them from this, it cannot protect you from this, because nothing can stop individuals from enacting out their will. The state itself, as another apparatus, which is a construct, can only act after the fact. If somebody wants to kill you, and they want you dead, you will die at some point unless you take precautionary measures. Me, myself, as an individual who has had as many as 14 million people a month, look at my videos on Instagram and all my platforms, especially with doing some of the controversial things I do as well, like adult entertainment, with barely legal young women 18 to 22, I've received a variety of death threats myself. All the fucking time. Even before I did that. Just merely being free and an outspoken person and on the internet and having people like what I say and having women like the things that I post and me going on adventures with chicks and there being evidence that I'm not working for anybody, kind of living my own thing, that in itself is enough to get me death threats. So I can only imagine the amount of people that this person had after him. Any individual who has any degree of popularity is receiving death threats on a daily basis, and there is always a group of fringe individuals who don't have anything to lose, who are on the opposite end of their ideological belief system, that will enact out that wish to kill him. There is a lot of people that wish death upon him, but only one individual who is willing to enact the action of eliminating him. So, with all these people getting into this idea of free speech and whatnot, you don't have free speech. You don't even have rights. Your rights end where your power ends. The state is infinitely more powerful than you, and the actions of an individual who has nothing to lose is more powerful than any rule or law that you can put up. So your only defense, if you are one of these people, is to not have yourself in a vulnerable position. If I ever reach that degree in which that many people are listening to me, I will never have myself in a crowd of people completely open to get shot in the neck. I will never put myself in that fucking situation. I know better. From a person who comes from the security industry being in cybersecurity and physical security and armed security and all that shit. I know better than that. Any person with a military or law enforcement background knows better than to leave yourself open like that. He knew the risks that he was taking, and he knew that that could possibly be a possible consequence of his actions. It doesn't matter what the state says. It doesn't matter what the state does. Okay? Now moving on to the next happening, the girl getting stabbed in the neck on the train. We've all seen that video. The girl gets stabbed in the neck on a train. There's a black guy behind her. And when she gets stabbed to death and she's dying and bleeding to death, the black people around her just sit there and watch. And I'll tell you why that is. The reason why is because everybody on that train, they wanted to see her die. And this goes back to what I said again, but also into something else that's equally as important. The individuals on the train that did nothing to help her were the individuals who wanted to see her die, but also had something to lose. They had jobs, they had families, whatever they had in their small little world. They don't want these white people to exist either. Hey, what's up? Huh? I said, what's up? I'm over here filming a YouTube video. You want to come and join? I said, I'm over here filming a YouTube video for my philosophy channel. You want to come and join? Come and join the discussion, for real. Come and join the discussion, for real. You'll see what I'm talking about when you get over here. I think we'll be lively to include somebody. Hold on.
Media or news, I'm kind of...
Well, they shot this guy, Charlie Kirk, in the neck, who was like a pundit, like a talk show kind of dude.
Uh-huh.
Right? And of course you heard about the girl who got stabbed in the neck on the train.
Same thing. I don't really watch all the news and
Really?
stuff. No.
Oh, okay. Well, people are debating about free speech, and they're talking about how people have rights to free speech and this and that, and I'm like, you don't understand. Your right to free speech ends to where somebody has a problem. So if you're saying shit that pisses people off and you're getting popular enough, eventually logic says that somebody's going to try to kill you, maybe. And somebody killed this guy.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm claiming here is that rights are an illusion in itself, because you don't really have any rights. Your rights end where your power extends. Like, we don't even have a right to live or drink or clean or have clean water or shelter. It's something that we have to get for ourselves, because the system and everything is against us. We don't even have a right to live in the woods and go build a fucking cabin. We have a right to have whatever we could take or whatever is in our ability to get with our resources.
Yeah, well, that's just capitalism, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? So I'm giving people like an inner working to capitalism and the system in general, and kind of how power dynamics work and everything else, without the ideological spin that everybody else is giving on them.
Yeah.
Because people are always going to spin whatever happens in their favor, and they don't have the ability to look at everything from like an outside perspective without taking some kind of political side. And me, as like a philosopher, I'm not in any political sides. I'm just observing things and like watching humans as animals and realizing their behaviors and how they hold on to illusions.
Yeah.
And just kind of take sides and have this never-ending battle to where they're pitted towards each other infinitely. Yeah. Instead of working on their own shit and doing their own thing, kind of like you, who's isolated and just walking in the woods.
That's how I
right?
like
And
it,
that's
man.
kind of my attitude too. But I like to touch base on this shit because even though I'm traveling all the time and running around the woods like you are and not giving a fuck, there's a lot of people who they spend their whole lives giving too much of a fucks with shit they can't control.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe if I give them a perspective that's kind of outside of all that, maybe they'll just kind of like chill.
Hopefully, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I've kind of stopped trying to change people, you know?
No, you can't change them. People are going to do what they want.
Exactly.
Right?
They gotta learn their own way.
Exactly. Like, you look as old as me. So, of course, you've dated chicks, you've had expectations from families, this and that. But the thing is that you can't expect shit from anybody. Because at the end of the day, we know that you won't fail you. Like, you're out here hiking by yourself, and guess what? Maybe nobody's with you, maybe nobody is, but if there's nobody with you, so what? You do it alone.
I'm not trying to like undermine anything you're getting at because I understand where you're coming from, but there's a certain level of like cynicism in that view that I feel like is a little bit debilitating. Like the same concept with the rights thing is what you're getting at with like the depending on other people thing.
Yeah.
Like what separates family and like those that you love is that you're supposed to be able to depend on them. That, of course, you can only truly rely on yourself because that's the only entity you can control. But like,
but let's
for them
this.
to be designated in that category, they should be able to hold up to a certain level of expectation. And it's the same thing with the rights, like civil rights kind of thing. I mean, of course, anybody can come and kill you, and people can act in their own way and violate those rights. But there's a legal system that's supposed to punish them for that and act as a certain level of reward punishment to incentivize good behavior and also sanity.
But
of course,
you have
anybody can go crazy.
That's right. Well, you have an expectation on your family, but if I was your father, I could still say, "Fuck you, kid, I'm out."
Of course, and it happens all the time.
Right?
That's sad.
And the justice system is not to give you justice; it's to give justice to those who are in power.
No, I completely agree.
There you go.
I'm just like the ideal behind it, the intention.
The
of
idealism.
Course, the execution leaves a lot to be desired.
Idealism.
But the idea I agree with. Like we should strive for something. Like just because it's not working doesn't mean you should just like give up or claim that none of these things are real. It's just people are easily corrupted and tempted, and unfortunately we haven't reached a level of like civility and sophistication in order to.
Well, what is civility, and what is corruption when you in yourself is simply a violent animal that decided to be civil to cooperate with other people in egoist exchange? Like, what is it but that? Right? So even though these things are not real, I'm not saying get rid of them because they're useful tools. I'm saying recognize them for what they are and realize they're mandatory, and that's why the things are allowed to happen in which they are, which is also why people are allowed to go on an island and fucking molest children and not get caught, because they are excluded from the legal system because they're too powerful.
Of course.
So this is just the nature of things. I'm accepting the nature as it is and saying navigate your way according to it, but view the chessboard realistically and then place your pieces accordingly from a realistic perspective of the chessboard. But a lot of people are in an altruistic denial of how things ought to be. And like you said, you can't control things or people, so you gotta let go and just do what you can. But you don't have to fall into cynicism because I'm telling you this. You already know this, and you're not sinister about it. And neither am I.
That's sort of, I think, a big separation. And a big choice that people have to make too is a lot of people, probably most people, see that the system is corrupt or that there are problems with the way things work. What you choose, how you choose to like process that is I think a big difference maker. Like whether you let that make you also corrupted, or whether you make that let that make you like, you know, sinister, like you said, or, you know.
But what is corruption beyond the veil of good and evil? Because that's also a construct.
Yeah, everything's a construct. I mean, reality itself is a sort of illusion at a certain point.
It could be a simulation.
To have a philosophical conversation or debate, you gotta have some essence of foundation. So I try not to get too deep into those.
Do you have to have a foundation, or could you?
Because then the conversation shifts to like a conversation about like reality and metaphysics and stuff like that, which is a great conversation too, but you just have to kind of set out your intentions for what you're trying to establish, otherwise you'll be there for days, you know? Well, I'm all about the Plato Aristotle stuff, like the Republic and all that.
The ground you're kneeling on right now is solid, but maybe the grounding of your reality is based on nothingness and you fabricated it all, and that's okay.
Yeah, it could all be a dream.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, there's nothing, but I'm the creator of everything.
Right? You could be God. at the same time that nothing is everything and everything is nothing.
Yeah, and you're whatever you want to be.
It's a reality of duality. It's a dependence of polar opposites. It's a spectrum and a constant oscillation.
And you chose to just hike in the woods despite that and chill and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, right?
Exactly.
You're all these levels of like existential shit, societal shit, primitive animal stuff. Like you have to kind of walk that tightrope every day and choose where you want to have your contemplations and your internal conflicts. You know, if you want to sit there and contemplate reality and being alive, it's going to be difficult to maybe operate in a Walmart when you're trying to check out. but
for some people it is. They can't leave the house.
Yeah. And you get mental disorders and anxiety and all of that as a result. But there's a certain level of also natural selection, right? That's why I like to come back out here. It reminds me of what's like real underneath all the layers of like human illusion and sheep's wool and stuff that society likes to pull over and say, look at these aesthetics and look at these like values that we're pushing. Well, this is like the original. This is what like we grew on to get to where we are now. Now we're kind of like pivoting because we have our own control of personal development and speciation. We're very successful on a certain natural level. But, I think there's a fairness that was original that nature has, and I respect that. It doesn't care about your race or your color or like religion or any of that stuff. This is like the ultimate level playing field. Maybe not. I won't go that far, but there's a certain level of reward and punishment that's innate to nature that I dig, and there's a peacefulness and like a harmony and
absolutely
and that existential connection.
Because in the brutality of what is existence, the universe does not care who you are. Yeah, exactly.
Certainly not.
Yeah, that's good shit, man. You own yourself.
I try to.
Right, that's good. But what we also have to realize is that being a lot of people, they hold on to this idea of being a good person because they don't want to see the animal inside them staring at themselves in the mirror. They can't deal with that.
Well, this is like sort of maybe where we differ, or what I was talking about before, with like the need for a greater level of sophistication. Like we like to colloquially separate ourselves from the rest of Animalia. We like to say that we're a different level of consciousness, we're a different level of sophistication and development, and we're better than these animals. And of course, there's the argument, like you're saying, that we're certainly not. These are all primitive instincts just transposed on a socioeconomic framework. Yeah. And it's the same ideas, like, fighting each other for food on a tree. Sure. Is fighting each other for money at the bank, whatever. Yeah. In the stock market.
We're just an evolved version of that.
Yeah.
Right? Now we fight in courts instead of with guns and swords.
But I think we have the capacity to exhibit the difference maker here, in my opinion, from like most of nature, which is sort of what you said. It's like a level of altruism, empathy, a capacity to empathize with other living creatures and do things for their benefit that do not benefit you. That's a definition of altruism.
Being kind because you feel like it, not because you expect something.
Because you think we're actively crafting this reality. Like every person that's born into this world has to experience it and will be subject to the environmental features that the rest of humanity now is deciding this world should be. So if we make it a happy place, a kind place where we all share a open, positive world, it can be a bit of a heaven. Or we can turn it into a violent Armageddon, nuclear, whatever the fuck you want to say. Sure. Sorry for the profanity.
No, it's all good.
Hell.
Here's a good question for you. Have you ever gave like a bum $1?
Yeah.
Okay, why'd you do it?
I had extra, I had surplus, and I realized he has little, so why not give a little bit and try to, make things better for someone who seems to be suffering.
Did that make you feel good when you helped them?
To an extent,
sure.
But it's just the same idea. I'm not searching for that. There is a little bit of self-gratification.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a fulfillment.
Even if you didn't feel good and you did it.
But I think I've broken that self-perception barrier where I started to do these things out of like, because I feel the obligation as a charitable person, and it would violate my personality traits to pass up this opportunity to give to a homeless person.
Then why did you do it if it didn't make you feel
good? The same idea. Like, I have enough for me.
Yeah.
And some. So why not help somebody else? Like that's the altruism.
So in that action, you are pertaining to adhering to a self-interest that you created of a code that you gave yourself, that you're adhering to. So in reality, you're doing it for yourself, not for him.
Oh, well, I'm doing it for
there's always a self-interest in every action.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer the world to be a good place that would help me if I was in dire straits.
Yes.
But in the same way, if I were to have kids someday, I would want the same thing for them.
Yeah.
And like I said before, we're actively all, through each of our small little individual bricks of actions, building the house of this world, right?
Yeah.
So let's make it, a good place. And part of
You're
that
right.
is doing your part.
Yeah.
And so every now and again, I like to be, contribute goodness.
Your dollar could have prevented him from killing himself that day. You don't know.
Or maybe he was just lying.
Maybe he just wanted a fucking beer or something.
So
That's cool too.
I've equally told homeless people, no, you gotta have.
Yeah.
You gotta get yourself straight before you can help other people get straight. That's another aspect too, but in a separate conversation. But
that's pretty chill, man. You got that Alan Watts vibe to you.
I know who that is. Yeah.
So he's a cool guy. I particularly like Friedrich Nietzsche and Max Stirner the most.
I read what's that book that Nietzsche wrote? That
Beyond Good and Evil?
No, it's got like a big monster in it. It's just he's from such a far back period that the manner in which he writes, like the prose of it, the syntax of
the Ubermensch.
Yeah, maybe that one.
I think that's what I advocate. Achieving the Ubermensch, which is creating your own code and living by your own ideals, which is literally what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't gone deep enough. I was thrown off by the word. And once you get far enough back in time, it's sometimes hard to get over the way they speak.
Well, the difference between you and other people who've chosen your idealism to hold on to and the code you gave yourself, which is not there's nothing wrong with that, is that you were consciously aware of everything before you chose that path. And most people unconsciously and unawarely choose paths without thinking about the other ones that are available.
It's huge. That's the perception thing we were talking about earlier with like the YouTube videos. People, people shit on drugs all the time, but in my opinion, I think drugs are like I view it as a step function, right? Like your consciousness is like correlated with your maturity and your world experience, and the more you witness things, the
like
more
mushrooms and stuff,
you realize stuff, right? But like a little bit of a shortcut cheat code is to take like a hallucinogenic, and then parts of your brain that are otherwise siloed. At least this is my scientific explanation, which has some grounds in actual data. I think it's true. I think it literally is a cheat code, because for some people, if they experience enough suffering and trauma, they could get there without using that. That's what I mean. Like there's a way to get there without it, and I've seen people get there, and it's like, wow, you've really sat back and reflected and done all this. Or I think a lot of people that suffer, like you said, have no choice but to view the world at its bare bones. Which I think a lot of these unconscious folks, they've been spoiled. They don't have to. They don't know what it's like to survive. They have an expectation of what should be given to them. And when, in fact, that's not the way things work. Well, when you're 18 years old and you could make an OF account and make $15 million in 2 weeks, why do you need to care what the world's really like? So few people, right? So few people pull that off. I wish I could. That'd be great. Superficial and it's very superficial, and it shows me how much society values that girl compared to me, and it's interesting because that is a reflection of value. She is valued at $15 million within 2 weeks of turning 18. Right. But there's a lot of speculation in life. There is. There's a lot of risk. Some people, and there's a lot of luck. Well, if you can't take the risk, then you can't live the life, man. I risk busting my head out here by myself climbing these rocks, but I'm enjoying it, and plenty of people get lost out here and get fucked. Right? Every day people so because I could imagine they're not in shape like me and you, and they're fucking running around, and they fucking slip and hit their head, and they're fucked and drowning in a puddle. Terrible way to go. Embarrassing. Well, it fucking happens to them all the fucking time. Fitness, man. Fitness. Absolutely. Did you go to college? Yeah. For what? Some bullshit, and then you decided to turn around and say, fuck that? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, but like I did use it for a while. I went to college for computer science.
Me too. Cybersecurity.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
No, I got.
Then I was like, fuck this prison. I'm out. Fuck this office and these people. Fuck this.
Well, a little bit
right?
of computer science is saying that. It's like, fuck this physical prison. Let's make a digital heaven.
Transhumanism. That's a whole nother philosophical viewpoint there. Yeah.
Which I don't agree with, because I think the digital stuff isn't near as fulfilling as the physical stuff.
I think if we enter,
we might get there, but
I don't think I know that if we enter the cyberpunk capitalist dystopian future that we're going to enter, which is inevitable, I am definitely going to transhumanism myself to stay ahead in the competition. I have no fucking problem.
What does that mean? What is transhumanism?
Transhumanism is basically transcending the
singularity?
No, the biological limitations of being human.
Oh,
so essentially
cyborg stuff?
That, and as well as, let's say that we were going to, use some kind of genetic CRISPR experiment to give you super intelligence
so cheap.
above other humans.
Yeah, it's
like
dumb.
if or life extension.
You've got no way to keep up then. Like,
well,
all these custom made, and that's like a separate conversation. But
absolutely.
All of this stuff with like tech making us obsolete, and then as well as financial theory and like the wealth gap and stuff, makes me. That's why I don't subscribe to society in general, because I don't want to play the rat race, which is what you have to do if you want to keep up with that. Because I mean, it's literally just various forms of inflation.
I play the rat race, but exist in my own world. I've created my own bubble to where I could extract cash from it and fund my little world that I create outside of society. Right?
What's your cash extraction technique?
Anything I fucking get my hands on. I don't give a shit what it is, as long as it doesn't have me go to prison.
Like a picker? Or
that's the rule.
Like a drug dealer?
No, fuck no. That I got a buddy in prison for that shit. I don't touch that. SMMA, I've already done social media marketing. I've started my own cybersecurity subcontracting company by basically getting multiple corporations, filling out the apps on Indeed, and then having people from India and Somalia do it instead of me, while they think I was doing it, because fuck them.
Third party outsourcing.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I've all kinds of tricks that I've done just to leverage my extraction of the system without the middleman robbing me of my wages. And I'm always figuring out more ways.
You're playing the game.
Yeah, and now I have land, and I'm putting Airbnb cabins on it, and I'm buying cheap fucking shit land that nobody wants, and I'm putting cabins there to give people who are students, like, low-income options to live. So getting what I need, but not extracting so much that I'm trapping them and preventing them from moving on. Right? So extracting and leveraging from the system in ways that it can't control me.
Landlord.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Asshole landlord.
Yeah.
No, you're like, I don't know, 10, 15 years further down the road than me.
Yeah.
I had similar ideas.
Yeah.
And
you could
play
do
the
it.
Real estate game or whatever.
You just gotta learn how to leverage cash, dude. Like, build your credit score, create your anonymous LLCs.
Bro, I'm way ahead of you. I play the stock market.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, then you're, dude. The stock is something I don't know how to do, and I didn't want to get into it until they had trading bots, and now that they do, I'm gonna gamble with some cash. Because I cannot sit there all day and do that shit. I don't have the patience.
The stock market runs the world. The stock market runs everything.
You're right.
It's and it's all corrupt. Like this country, and by extension, the world runs on insider trading.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little.
Give me some tips.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Because I'm not involved in that.
A couple bootstraps here.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
So if you want to play stocks.
Yeah.
Fundamentals don't exist. All right, people will tell you, look at this company. It's got like this multiple, this metric, price to earnings, and these revenue growth and all this stuff. And to an extent, those matter because they form a narrative that the big financial institutions can spin to inspire liquidity to enter the name. And this is way off philosophy. We're totally into the corrupt realm of the system now.
Yes.
So we're playing the game just to disclaim to anybody listening or to you that if they don't care about this shit and like they're more into the like what actually matters beyond this reality and like principles and stuff, you could just tune me out here. But none of that really matters. What matters is more buyers and sellers. And who has all the money? The financial institutions. So you really just have to follow them. So the way that they position themselves is really not so much in common shares, but in derivatives and options. Yeah. Because they're levered up, so you can take more amounts of risk with less amounts of cash at, at a position of risk. So you can lose less money while making higher percent returns on that money.
Okay.
So it's like a very understood risk-reward formula kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you just follow the option flows, you can give yourself a much higher probability, and this is if you're like swing trading, more or less. If you're looking for like long-term holds and stuff, and the S&P does go up on average 10% per year since its inception, and the reason is because the economy runs on that shit, because all of our retirement funds are in the S&P or in the stock market.
Is that where your game is, long-term holds or big-term gains?
No. So that's just to like delineate here.
Okay.
If you're looking to swing trade and make like these like 15 million in 2 weeks type stuff,
sure.
You look for these like option flow positionings, there's an entity called the CBOE that's in charge of like managing options on all of these assets, right? So they are like the clearinghouse or whatever. I'm not totally intricately involved or well versed in all the plumbing behind it, but the CBOE has this stream of data that you can subscribe to that gives you real-time option flow data.
Okay.
And there are various services. One big one's like Unusual Whales. I subscribe to a different one, which I can give you the name of if you're curious. And they basically take the data and filter it for like unusual sized option purchases or sales, and then you can decide based on like technical analysis and other stuff whether you want to take a position in it. And the idea being, if they have this huge position, they're not going to let it expire worthless. They're not going to let the asset trade down below their entry price. So you have a bit of a cushion. You have a bit of a like
time to act.
Yeah. Well, you have a defense. You have like, look at it this way. Like the financial institutions are like great white sharks, right? And you're like the little fish next to the great white shark. That's that great white shark doesn't care about. But you just mooch off the shark's kills. More or less. So you have the protection of the shark, because other fish that are bigger than you and stuff aren't going to come try to take off the shark or like, combat it.
So you're basically taking advantage of the chum that's left.
Yeah.
And it's still big enough to sustain you.
Yeah. I mean,
like that.
We're all really little fish when it comes to the like $1 trillion stock market. Like, it's massive, and the amount of money moving, and depending on.
Well, I don't need $10 fucking million gains to sustain my life, because it's not built on fucking Lamborghinis and luxury. So, because I don't fucking need that shit.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't care.
And you're gonna get taxed to hell anyway.
Exactly.
So you'll only see like, if you live in California, you'll only see like 4 million of that. But
fuck that. That's awesome, man. I never heard of that before. That's very interesting, because that means that you have time to act. And a lot of these guys that I see making huge gains, they're glued 24/7. And I don't want to be glued 24/7 to anything, because if I am, now I'm a slave to that instead of living my existence.
Yeah, it's an important delineation. Right. I will say the market is pretty demanding if you want to like ensure returns and watch stuff, because it changes quickly too. Like they put on these positions, but they're liable to take them off when they see 20-30% gains, or they could let it run. You don't know what their reasonings are. It could also be a hedge. They could have a equally sized or bigger opposite position, short the stock or what have you. So it is very much a very demanding gig, in my opinion, and I am glued to the screen just as much as I was at Amazon, but I make more money, and I'm trying to get all that up front. And the thing with the stock market is it's percentage gains. Your ceiling, you don't have a ceiling. It's uncapped. It's how much capital you have. If you have, $10 million, you can make $5 million off it. But if you're working at another company or like Amazon or something, you're going to get capped at a certain salary.
Could you trust in? Do you think at this point you could trust an AI workflow to trade for you, so that you could have more hands off?
I'm sure they have those, and I mean,
in your strategy.
Much of the market already runs on algorithms that programmatically trade off different signals, different technical indicators, which goes back to technical analysis, which is probably another bootstrap that I don't know if I have the time to like get too deeply into, but there's all these like, have you seen charting of stocks?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's all these indicators that people use, moving averages that use like weighted averages of the past 20 periods, which can be on various time frames, more
Okay.
intricate or higher level.
Yeah.
To determine, where support levels are at for
Yeah.
stocks as they trade around. And then you can time your entries and your exits to those support and resistance levels so that you can better optimize your returns and have very, same thing like strategized risk rewards for your trade plan. Like,
Okay.
you can cut something if it trades below this certain level because there's not enough support, or there was a genuine change in sentiment or whatever. And equally, you can buy there too because you can expect it to bounce when it hits that level.
So it's important to know when it's going to bounce and when to cut off.
Well, it can be. I mean, it depends. Like if you want to scrape off every little piece of the trade and get every little basis point and percent gain,
Yeah.
then it's great, and it also like is good for like a risk reward and loss preventative framework. But at the same time, you could just throw something on to match a flow and then take it at a certain profit point and not care too much about the chart. It depends on how deeply you want to get into something,
That's fucking awesome.
how much conviction you have, and how big is your position.
So this is the skill you learn to free yourself.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I never met a trading guy in person, honestly. I haven't yet.
It's pretty cool. I worked for Amazon for like 3 years,
Okay.
and then I had enough capital.
Doing AWS shit and
Yep.
okay.
Yep,
I see. I
EC2.
fucking hate the AWS. I fucking hate it so much.
Dude, it runs the internet. I mean,
It does.
You can only hate on it so much.
It does.
And Amazon.com. I mean, I love the shit on big tech because their values don't exist. But they are the backbone of all of a huge part of our standard of living nowadays.
Yeah.
So the services they provide, I mean, all of us more or less depend on. So the modern age doesn't exist without
fucking
them.
spin up a goddamn Docker container with Kubernetes and all this other shit and fucking put trading bots and fucking have them working 24/7 and multiple clones, man. Like fucking, you have the skills to do it. Fucking get it done.
It could be done, and people have done it, but just it's a lot of maintenance and like
electricity, maybe.
Code. Yeah.
A couple of cell phones.
Intricate, so I don't plan on doing this forever.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's fucking awesome, man.
I'd like to have left the computer science world behind. I've thought about making scripts for all this stuff and doing it all really automated or what have you.
And fucking sell it to people too.
Yeah.
Now now you got your own Instagram and you're like, yo, I'm hiking. I have a fucking bot for you to do this fucking.
But also I don't need $10 million. I'd rather like trade and make my like 6 figures here and there to be blunt, and also be able to go hike a long trail in the middle of the year and not have to maintain a business for the entirety of my 20s before I find someone to sell it to.
Damn, you're only 20-something.
I'm 29,
Holy fuck, bro. I'm 30. I'm almost 38. Damn, I thought you were older than that with how you're talking. I thought you were damn near 40.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
I just turned 29 in August.
That's great that you figured out that shit so soon.
Yeah. I figured there must be something better. But traveling was a big help, and
it
drugs,
is.
like I said.
It's an eye-opener.
You gotta be careful with drugs. Show them respect. Don't just, like, toss a whole eighth of shrooms in your body and act like a maniac or something.
I never done that shit because
have the right intentions.
The only time I ever done something was some edibles, and they threw me into a loop that was so crazy. I lost track of time and got transported into another universe just from one edible. I have no tolerance. If you give me 2 beers, I will be drunk because I never did that shit when I was a kid. So I'm afraid that something as powerful as shrooms, even microdosing, will send me on fucking days.
No,
because it's just my brain. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I might not come back.
It's all Einsteinian. It's just everything's relative, right?
It is.
For me, that's DMT.
Yeah.
So
DMT. I'm sure would fucking send me into the abyss permanently. I'm absolutely sure because I could already go there without drugs. Well, just from another existential crisis.
That's what you have to remember when you're on them, right? Like these are all things that your mind is witnessing and would witness would be capable of witnessing without the drugs, these are just exacerbators. They're like intensifiers.
Hyperbolic exacerbators, that are very extreme. And instantly transport you. Yeah.
But the stuff, I like to think I'm not afraid of doing DMT and all that stuff. But there's certain things that I think ignorance is bliss. And DMT is supposed to take you to another dimension, and you see machine elves and stuff, and the inner workings of our reality. And I don't want to be paranoid the rest of my life that there's some, creatures in my peripherals or something that I can't see. And, there's a certain level of, ego death that maybe I'm not ready for, or what have you, that anybody can debate. But everybody chooses their comfort and where they want to be, and I don't see a need for that. Personally, and equally, you might not see a need for shrooms, and I completely understand that. Everybody chooses what they're interested in, what would be the next thing that they need in order to move forward, right? And, so everyone needs different things, different times, etc. That's why I think judgment is is a terrible thing, and nobody knows the other person's context completely, and you can get to all these places, like we said before, without. In many ways to skin a cat without the same tools that somebody else used. So just because you did DMT doesn't mean you understand everything better than the next guy. Just because I did shrooms doesn't mean I understand everything better than the next guy. The moment you lose your humility is the moment you get humiliated, right? Yeah.
Well, remember, what Charles Manson said about ego death, right?
No.
You ever listen to him?
No.
He's really good, right? This is the kind of shit they study. He said, they asked him who he was, and he said, I'm nothing, I'm nobody. I'm a tramp, a bum, a hobo. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine and a straight razor if you get too close to me. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And he really went into ego death and him, releasing himself into another world that other people can't control. And I'm realizing that a lot of these people who are cultists or individuals who started cults, including, the individuals in Heaven's Gate, who I believe were killing themselves because they're aware of the world that AI would create. These people who they say are crazy, they have very interesting philosophical views that takes a level of higher consciousness to understand them. Regardless of whatever acts they committed, I don't care. I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that was very interesting for him to say that. And then I said, man, this guy is onto some shit. And then I found out he wrote books about deconstructing your identity. And he used this understanding of deconstructing his own identity to deconstruct the identity of other people's and manipulate them and turn them into his little soldiers. And he wrote books about that as well. Right? So did a man you're familiar, probably, if you're familiar with Nietzsche, you're familiar with Machiavelli.
I know.
Who describes power dynamics and self-interest and everything and that. And those are the kind of more darker philosophical subjects that I study in the people, because I think a lot of people ignore those individuals. But there's something that they say that is of value because they're walking the darker path of life, right? Which a lot of people don't look into because they're always looking at things from a positive perspective. They don't look at things from a more gruesome or how I should say a perspective that's grotesque, like this graphic novel I've been reading out of China that got banned recently. It's called Reverend Insanity. And it's very interesting.
So much stuff is banned in China.
Yeah, this guy, he on his path to become a god, he relieves himself of all constructs. And in the chapter that I went to, he's witnessing a young girl getting eaten alive by a bear in a cave that he threw there himself. And he's watching her be torn apart, and the bear dripping blood from his mouth. And he's saying that her value and her perception and her superficiality is nothing but a constructed ideal, because underneath her there was nothing but bones and guts and blood like everybody else. And he went into saying through nature we're all equal, because we're all just that. And he said in a situation where she would be eating the bear, maybe people would say that's interesting. In a situation where a beggar would be laying there, maybe they would not care so much if he was so ugly. In a situation where there was an old lady laying there getting eaten, people might not feel as sorry for her as they do for the young woman.
For sure.
And then he just kind of walked away and let it be. And he continuously allowed these things to happen and didn't act except anything merely than an observer. And sometimes an agent of chaos to detach himself from everything. And he mastered the art of detachment from everything. And eventually gods came down to him and challenged him. And he defied them also and defeated them, gods themselves, and their constructs.
How do you do that?
By just becoming more powerful and detached than they are and freeing themselves from construct. Like a god came down to him and he said, it's time for you to pay for the sins you've committed against humanity. There was one point where he like wiped out a village of, I think, 300,000 people to achieve immortality. And he said, there's no crime too high to pay for the price of everlasting life. That was his ideal. And that's when the god came from the sky and said, it's time for you to pay. And he said, well, I defy your moral objectivism and I make my own. And through this, I am God. And he's like, well, then you'll die. And he persevered so hard, he destroyed the gods. And nothing could stop him. And he lived forever and just kept living this way. It was crazy. There was a point to where he fell in love with a woman. And I think, I'm not sure, I haven't got that far, but I think he killed her. Because he realized that his need for her, wanting and belonging, was another attachment to slavery. So he went beyond the inner need for him to feel loved and belong to other people. And he himself found love and belonging within himself without the need for others to give it to him.
There's elements of Buddhism there.
Absolutely. It's a Chinese novel.
Yeah.
Right,
oh,
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But also elements of, like you said, insanity.
That's why it's called Reverend Insanity.
Yeah.
Because he's a reverend of insanity.
How he achieved immortality.
Yeah. It's just fucking nuts.
I think, but how does that make you immortal, you know?
Well, I mean, of course, there's like some fantasy shit in there. There's something with like this energy called goo and shit where he transforms this beetle or something. And, there's all kinds of fantasy shit.
Yeah.
But it's like
it's a creativity.
Yeah, the author created a story to I guess bring a character on a journey to the deepest, darkest philosophical depths of choices that he could make.
Very polarizing.
Yeah, and coming to conclusions in a way that removes people from their humanistic viewpoint, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's very interesting, and it goes into a lot of things like nihilism and like you said, Buddhism and stuff like that. So I like shit like that. It's kind of how I am.
That's
you know what I'm saying? On the internet, I'm called Dark Nimbus.
Where's that from?
Well, Nimbus is a cloud.
Yeah, I know that.
And
I think of Dragon Ball Z when you say Nimbus.
That's where I got the idea.
Oh yeah? That's what I was hoping.
Because like Goku's on the cloud. And there was actually a character that fought Goku when he was a kid. He floated on a cloud called Dark Nimbus, and it was black.
Oh yeah.
And conveniently enough, what was funny, this enemy, he had like long hair and a beard, and like a ponytail, and he would sit like that and like all badass, and he's like, no one will stop me, and like the Dark Nimbus, and it came to him like, yo, this is legit my brand. I was in the Moab desert chilling with some girl at the time in my camper van, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this social media shit. Why? I never cared, but then I realized you could get attention to make money. I'm like, cool, I'm an attention whore now. Let's get this money. So Dark Nimbus, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm in podcasts and everything. I'm fighting
with that stuff.
I'm fighting with people online who are like direct friends of Andrew Tate who are DMing me because I'm upsetting them. I'm like attacking their philosophy because they're attaching their righteous path to masculinity with luxury consumerism and being like, you need a Bugatti to be free.
People, in my opinion, are worth my time. You know.
Yeah.
Like these people aren't going to change.
No, they're not.
I don't think the discussions are very.
They're surface level.
Genuine or deep, like you said.
No, they're not. It
just makes me want to do what I'm doing and run to the woods.
Their discussions are meant to mislead young men into thinking by pursuing these items.
I'm aware.
Yeah, right.
I try not to put my mind. Like even entertain. That's why I don't watch the news or any of the social media stuff because so much of it is polluting. Yeah. Like just manipulative and popularity contests.
You don't seem to be an agent of chaos and you stay away from it, but I like it. It's fun.
You just got to be careful. I mean, you start to get to a point where like an observer like me would question whether you're contributing to a solution or the problem. Yeah. And, you know, to an extent, I am detached and I will say I don't care because I don't. My objective assessment is that the powers of the problem are greater than that of the solution presently. But that doesn't make me condone or wish to expend my time, my focus, care, etc. on the people that are contributing to the problem.
Yes.
Like, I still view them in a negative light, and I know all of the effects that stuff can bring, and this is a holistic existence. If you want to exert your mental, physical, etc. energy in that direction, it's gonna decay you in some way. It's gonna undermine you in some way. And
I think it's entertaining as fun.
Reality is becoming skewed to the point where it no longer punishes those things, at least within the human framework.
Sure.
That's why I try to still come out into nature, because all that cockiness, right? You climb in the mountain, it's bigger than you. You're not going to be able to just summon ultimate masculinity and say, I will hike, blah blah blah. So I've done the
like some David Goggins shit.
Yeah, well,
stay hard.
That guy's fucking incredible.
He's incredible. Yeah,
I don't follow him, but I've seen. I mean, his physique and the Navy SEALs and all that stuff. I have no doubt he can do a great, crazy amount of things, but that's because he's put in the time, to physically train and to work his discipline and fortitude. There is a certain level of I think unrealisticness to what he's saying. Most people can't just dedicate their life to physical fitness.
No.
Right? People got to go to work. They got to make money.
Nor the interest.
They don't have the money to pay for all the food and the supplements and all that stuff that I have no doubt he's taking. Yeah.
Well, he's on a journey of proving himself, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I mean,
to himself.
Yeah. I mean, and that's fine. That's why it's where he finds his fulfillment and stuff. And I think there's definitely plenty of people that find that in fitness, and it is a good feeling to be healthy, and I've done that myself and pursued that route.
So it's very interesting, the dichotomy that you mentioned there, because
to just to put a pin in it, or bookend it. I think there just needs to be balance. He seems unbalanced in the direction of that. But
he's straightforward all the way.
Yeah,
looking straight ahead.
That's his entirety.
That's his entirety.
It just makes you question. Because, again, we've become so specialized in this world, and, there's so many layers of indirection or provision between us and necessity. Yeah. We don't farm, we don't build our house, we don't do most of the things.
Which has made people weak, spoiled.
Yes. But it makes people, able to become unbalanced in the manner of what I'm saying. They dedicate their lives to this singular thing and act like it's the ultimate pursuit. Yes. But it's not even what it wouldn't even keep you alive unless all these other people were feeding you, etc. Yes. So I mean, the majority of the world doesn't live like that. Doesn't have the luxury of having all of those abstractions that we have, where the food is at the market.
Well, that's why we're not David Goggins. It's not because we're not hard enough. It's because we don't have an interest.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons.
Yeah. It's interesting how you question whether or not it's good to press the button. And my view of things is if I find the button, I'm going to press it. I don't care what happens, because I want to see what happens when the button's pressed.
Oh, I just think that's really primitive. To what extent is that sustainable? To what extent?
Well, I'm going to sustain myself regardless of whether everything collapses around me, so I'm not worried.
But then you're not then I'm interpreting your button pressing differently.
Sure.
Then you'd just be constantly an agent of chaos, or just
that's exactly what I am.
Right. But if you have the capacity and discipline to supply all these things for yourself, then you're not constantly doing random button pressing, right? You have
whenever
a life of competency behind it to support you doing those things, but not compromising your own capacity to survive, or
of course,
etc.
Yeah. So you don't want to press.
You're just opportunistically pressing.
Well, buttons. Well, you don't want to press a button which is a trigger that launches a bullet to your head.
Well, you're not a true agent of chaos or a random actor. You have there's a certain outcome you want to see.
Exactly.
So that's not.
So like a hacker mindset, because that's what I did. I was a penetration tester.
All right.
So I'm just penetration testing life and people's minds, right?